Luocha is finally here with his amazing heels and even more amazing hair. Sorry, Genuine, you've been replaced for the one that has the best long hair in the world of Star Rail, but in all seriousness, welcome to my Luocha guide where we'll go over his kit, build, team synergies, and so on. And if you enjoy these types of videos, make sure to leave a like and let's get into Luocha's kit. To begin, I wanted to discuss Luocha's skill kit and how good it is utility-wise. The first thing to note is that Luocha's healing is based off his attack, so he won't be scaling off HP like Natasha and Bailu do, but because he scales off of attack, he'll be able to do more damage than our other healers. As for his kit, his skill is able to restore your allies' health by a very good amount, and he will gain a stack of Abyss Flower, which I will discuss shortly. And his skill also has an emergency heal when an ally falls below 50%, and this does not consume a skill point and allows him to generate energy and also gain a stack of Abyss Flower. With one of his traces, he's also able to cleanse teammates with his skill, which is very beneficial, and for his ultimate, he does an AoE attack against all enemies and strips away a buff from the enemy, which is amazing against enemies with buffs and enemies who revive themselves, as they won't be able to revive themselves anymore due to that being a buff they have. His ultimate also gains him a stack of Abyss Flower, which now leads into what his Abyss Flower does. Luocha's talent allows him to create a field when he has 2 Abyss Flower stacks, which he can obtain through his skill or ultimate, and this field lasts for 2 turns. What the field allows you to do is that your team is able to recover health each time they attack the enemy based on Luocha's attack, and with one of his traces, it allows your entire team to be able to recover health from the field each time a teammate attacks the enemy. This is amazing for being able to have high sustainability for your team members. An important thing to note is that this is based on Luocha's turns, not the team's. So once 2 turns passes up, the field will go away. I'll also go into a bit more detail about this, about what characters highly take advantage of this later on in the video. Now for his technique, it will allow the battle to begin with his field, which is a nice way to start a fight, especially in Memory of Chaos, to have instant sustain available. As for his traces, they allow him to cleanse an ally with skill, increase his crowd control resistance to debuffs such as freeze, imprisonment, and so on, and lastly allow for group healing with his field, which are very nice traces to increase his utility. As for what to level up, I'd highly recommend focusing on his skill and talent first, and then his ultimate or basic attack. Before we get into Luocha's playstyle, if you are enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe, and now let's carry on. As for how to play Luocha, since he is a healer, your goal would be to heal as effectively as possible, and Luocha's skill kit allows him to be an auto healer in a way. Get it? Auto healer? For those who get that joke, I hope you laughed. If you don't understand the joke, maybe it's better that way. Ideally though, you'd want him to have a high uptime with his field, as that'll be the way your team will be able to have consistent sustainability and heals. And relatively speaking, Luocha can be quite skill point efficient, as you can basic attack with him quite often. With certain builds, he can be able to have a 3-turn ultimate, which I'll get into shortly. And as for his placement on your team, if you're playing him with characters who can taunt, or in some cases, destruction class characters, placing him next to them can be ideal, as he'll be able to regenerate energy quicker. If your field is up in regards to his ultimate, I would hold off on using the ultimate until your field is gone, since it won't count as a stack, or an Abyss Flower stack rather, unless the field has vanished, so wait off on your ultimate, use it once the field is gone. As for his rotation or selection of attacks, basic attack, skill, and then ultimate would be your best bet, unless you have to heal immediately, and one of the basic attacks can be another skill if need be. Playing him with fast characters or characters with follow-up attacks will be highly beneficial, as they can heal your entire team up quite well, which I'll get into more in depth in the team comp section of this video. Overall, Luocha's playstyle will be reliant on good energy regeneration being available for him in order to be consistent with his field and be able to heal your team for quite a lot, which in order to do that, you'll need to look into his relics and light cones, which is what we'll be going over now. For relics and substats, I'd recommend the 4-piece Musketeer set, 2-piece Imaginary and 2-piece Musketeer, or 2-piece Musketeer and 2-piece Wandering Cloud. Honestly, I would just use whatever pieces you do get the best substats and main stats, but if you can help it, try to maybe aim for those Musketeer pieces. I personally think 4-piece Musketeer may be the best since it is a universal set, so acquiring it can be nice for Luocha himself, and then even more characters that you may acquire. He can benefit from the attack increase, the speed increase, and so on. As for his main stats, I'd recommend outgoing healing percentage or attack percentage for the body piece, but with either of these, his healing will be quite good. Boots can be either attack or speed, and attack would be better for a slower Luocha and your field would last longer as a result. However, you would regenerate less energy, so you won't have your ultimate active more often as a result. For speed boots, the benefits would be going more within turn cycles, which allows you to regenerate energy for your ultimate quicker and take advantage of planar sets more effectively, especially planar sets that require you to have 120 speed or more. For your planar sphere, I would recommend attack percent, and for rope, I'd recommend energy regeneration, but if you don't have that, use attack until you can get energy regeneration. For planar sets, I'd recommend space ceiling for attack, fleet of the ageless for increasing your team's attack, and the energy regeneration set, which I, by the way, do not know how to pronounce, so that's why I'm referring to it as that, because I just tried to pronounce it about 5 times. I could not say it. I very much apologize, you guys. But that's set for energy regeneration. For your substats, you'd primarily be looking at flat attack, defensive stats to help with this squishiness, some speed, and so on. Overall, he's quite an easy character to build, as he's not heavily reliant on specific substats to heal, which is very good for your team overall. Based on my experience, his healing will be good, even if your substats are not the greatest. Of course, though, to finalize his build, let's discuss light cones. For light cones, the best one would, well, be his signature light cone, which can help with the attack increase, the speed increase for your team through his ultimate, and so on. This light cone will allow for the best healing, but post-operation will be a very good runner-up light cone due to the energy regeneration it can give you. If you have superimposed 2 version of this light cone or above, you can get your ultimate within 3 turns, which can allow for smoother rotations. At S4 or above, you can take off the energy regeneration set that gives you 5% and instead use the Fleet of Ageless or the Space Ceiling set and still be able to have your 3-turn ultimate. Another notable mention for me would be the Quid Pro light cone for free-to-play and the Shared Feeling light cone, which can increase your outgoing healing by quite a good amount and your energy as well. Now though, let's get into my favorite part, which will be team synergies. For team comps, Luocha can work with a whole lot of characters, but he works the best with characters that are fast and can go multiple times in a turn order through their skill kit or just through their speed, and characters with follow-up attacks. Characters that are ideal for Luocha can consist of Zila, Sushang, Himiko, Jingyuan, Clara, and so on. I mentioned Zila primarily due to her resurgence, as she can effectively go 3 to 4 times per turn depending on your rotation, your energy, and so on, but this can result in her healing your team numerous times just from her alone. The same applies for Sushang, as she can do a rotation of skill or normal attack, then get her ultimate ready, and then skill or normal attack again, since her ultimate allows her to advance her turn forward by 100%, so this results in 3 heals from Sushang as well. Some team compositions could be Yukong, Luocha, Zila, and possibly a debuffer like Silverwolf. As for Sushang, you could do a similar comp with her as well, and you can pick from whatever buffers you like, which can be Asta, Tingyun, Bronya. Whatever is to your liking, whatever you feel fits best will be good for these types of comps. Asta can highly benefit from Luocha since he's a very skill point positive character, which can allow Break Asta to be even stronger to deal with enemies, as she has more skill points now for herself and can restore the team with Luocha's field. As for follow-up characters, I like Himiko, which I know not many people talk about Himiko, but she's pretty good, I would say, with Luocha because of her follow-up attack. When enemies are weakness broken, Himiko will gain these stacks, and when she has enough stacks, she does a follow-up attack. This can allow for more healing, as Himiko can effectively attack 2 to 3 times per turn if she can attack, her follow-up attack occurs, and then possibly has her ultimate ready or is fast enough to go again. Regardless though, she is a great teammate for a Luocha team, as she can do this, and possibly you can run a Break Himiko if you want, or You could just run a crit rate, crit damage Himiko, whatever you feel is best for you. But this can be pretty good if you do have characters on your team that can break pretty efficiently, or Himiko herself is a breaker. As for Clara, she's incredible with Luocha as she can counterattack enemies who attack her, or when she has her ultimate active, she can also counterattack if enemies attack your teammates. Because the frequency Clara is able to counterattack, this allows for a lot of healing for your team, and Luocha and Clara can feel like very ideal partners as a result. As for Jingyuin, since he has his Lightning Lord, you can possibly look at adding Luocha as a sustain to your Jingyuin team, as he'll be able to hit the enemy. Lightning Lord will also possibly strike in that turn order depending on how many stacks you have, which results in more healing for the team as well. When it comes to team compositions, Luocha allows for a lot of teams to shine a bit more, especially hyper carry in my opinion. Hyper carry comps can now be a bit less risky with Luocha on the team due to him being skill point positive and also having his field up with good uptime if he is built properly. Another cool thing about Luocha is if you do run hyper carry, this will be pretty good due to the fact that he does have that emergency heal, which can be triggered every 2 turns. So while it does have a cooldown, it's still really good in case your main DPS, who is being buffed up and all that good stuff, needs that healing. The teammate I wouldn't really recommend for Luocha is Arlan, since Arlan wants to have low health and it'll be a bit difficult to do so with the field active and with Luocha's emergency heal. As for a character like Yanqing, I would pick Gepard if you have Gepard, because if you have Gepard, I feel like he's just a better teammate for Yanqing over Luocha. But of course, if you don't have Gepard, then Luocha will be fine with Yanqing. It's just I really like shielding with Yanqing over healers, so that's just a thing to consider as well if you do have all 3 of these characters. So I thought I would just bring it up overall. But overall, Luocha can work with a very good amount of characters, and I just thought I'd go over the ones I see the most potential in, which is once again, very fast characters and characters who are able to follow-up attack. Now for my personal thoughts on Luocha, I think he's a nearly perfect support with his utility, but he does have a few flaws. He is a bit more squishy than our other healers, which results in him possibly going down if his defensive stats aren't good, or if the enemy struck him too often. While he does have an emergency heal, it only activates every 2 turns, so if the enemy is attacking numerous times, your Luocha may still go down. This is another reason though I recommend Clara, because she can taunt enemies and counterattack often, which is really good for allowing good healing from the field itself, and since she could take the aggro, you can worry less about Luocha being attacked and possibly going down. Another flaw is how much energy regeneration will benefit him rotation-wise, where the rotation may honestly not feel the best unless you get that rope piece or the post-operation light cone, so that can possibly be a flaw for those who aren't able to get either. But overall, I think it'll be okay, it's just your rotation likely won't be as smooth. His ultimate not having healing AoE wise can possibly be a flaw, however, due to the fact that his field has healing for all team members through his traces, this can help tremendously and might honestly be arguably better to have this over his ultimate being able to heal everybody. I personally would rather go with the field healing everybody due to the uptime versus the ultimate healing everybody, but that's just me personally. Overall though, I'd say Luocha is a very good character who can highly benefit majority of accounts with his immense utility and healing potential. That'll be all though for my Luocha guide, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions about Luocha, let me know. And for the question of the day, what was your favorite TV show growing up? You can still of course love this show, but I want to primarily know, what was it growing up? For me, it would be the original Pokemon series, Sonic shows, and so on. I just love them so much. They were so good, and they were pretty humorous as well. And also stay tuned to more showcases and a Yukon guide coming very soon. I hope you all have a nice one. Peace.